I was just a week away from my wedding, excited and in love, when I discovered something that shattered my entire world. My fiancé was secretly planning to marry another woman. At first, I thought it was some cruel joke or a misunderstanding, but as I dug deeper, the ugly truth surfaced. He had been living a double life, engaged to me while arranging another wedding with a completely different woman. The betrayal burned through me like fire, but instead of breaking down, I decided to fight back. If he thought he could play us both, he had no idea what was coming for him. Determined to take revenge, I found a way to contact the other bride-to-be. She was just as blindsided as I was. At first, she didn't believe me, but when I showed her the undeniable proof, our engagement pictures, messages, and even wedding invitations, her shock turned into rage. Instead of crying over a man who clearly didn't deserve either of us, we decided to turn the tables on him. Together, we came up with a plan to expose him in the most humiliating way possible. On his wedding day, in front of all his family, friends, and colleagues. The day of the wedding arrived. The hall was beautifully decorated, filled with guests eagerly waiting to witness the happy couple exchange vows. The groom stood at the altar, all smiles, completely unaware that his perfect day was about to turn into his worst nightmare. As the music started playing and the guests turned towards the aisle, expecting to see his bride walking down, they were in for a shock. Instead of one bride, two women dressed in wedding gowns walked in, me and the other fiancé, side by side, ready to destroy the lying scumbag. Gasps and whispers filled the room as we confidently walked up to the stage, our faces calm, but our eyes burning with vengeance. The groom's face went from confused to horrified in seconds. He stammered, looking between us, as if his brain refused to process what was happening. Before he could speak, I grabbed the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," I announced, my voice steady and strong, "before this wedding continues, there's something you all need to know. This man standing here in front of you, pretending to be a devoted, loving fiancé, is a liar and a cheat. He is not engaged to just one woman, he is engaged to both of us." A shocked silence filled the room, but I wasn't done. I turned to the other bride, who pulled out her phone and started displaying screenshots of his texts, love letters, and proof of his double engagement on a large screen behind us. The guests erupted in murmurs, and his family looked on in disbelief. His mother gasped, his father's face turned red with anger, and his friends shook their heads, whispering among themselves. The groom tried to grab the microphone, desperately attempting to explain, but the damage was already done. The other bride and I weren't going to let him weasel his way out of this. She stepped forward and, in a clear, firm voice, said, "You played both of us. You lied, manipulated, and made us believe we were the only ones in your life. But today, you've lost everything." And that's when the real chaos began. His boss, who was also present at the wedding, stood up and glared at him. "You lied to your own fiancé, and I trusted you to handle important deals at work? If this is the kind of person you are, I can't have you representing my company. Consider yourself fired." His mother looked at him in disgust and turned away, refusing to even acknowledge him. Some of his relatives angrily walked out, ashamed to be associated with him. His friends, instead of supporting him, started laughing and whispering about how he had finally gotten what he deserved. Humiliated and powerless, the groom stood there, his entire life crumbling around him. His career was over, his family disowned him, and both of his relationships were completely destroyed in a matter of minutes. And as for us, we walked out of that wedding hall with our heads held high, leaving him to deal with the ruins of the life he had built on lies. That day, he thought he was going to have the perfect wedding. Instead, he got the biggest reality check of his life.